Welcome back to our channel. Today we bring you the exciting and dramatic developments of The Young and the Restless. No one in Genoa City expected that when Victor secretly hired a private investigator to investigate Aristotle, the elegant and mysterious man who recently appeared in Nikki's life. The truth revealed was so shocking that it could shake the foundation of the Newman family. Victor, who was never easy to trust anyone who came close to the woman he loved, began to feel uneasy when witnessing Nikki's eyes whenever Aristotle was mentioned. At first, he thought it was just nostalgia, but his intuition told him that something deeper was being hidden. Over weeks of covert surveillance, the detective Victor hired dug through old files, searched through photos scattered in old newspapers, and even accessed sealed marriage documents in a distant state. And then, the shocking truth came out: Aristotle was Nikki's legal husband. A marriage that had taken place decades ago, quickly covered up and almost disappeared from all public records. No one knew why Nikki had never mentioned it, not even Victor, who had been through so much with her. Victor was stunned when he received the final report. A copy of the old marriage certificate, accompanied by a blurry black and white photo of Nikki holding hands with Aristotle, both smiling brightly at a small church. But what shocked Victor the most was not Nikki's past, but the fact that Aristotle had approached Nikki recently and not by chance. A series of anonymous financial transactions, encrypted phone calls, and Aristotle's unusual travels before arriving in Genoa City reveal a much deeper conspiracy. Victor begins to learn more about Aristotle's past. A man who once had a brilliant career in international finance, Aristotle mysteriously disappeared more than 20 years ago after a financial scandal that was never made public. Those who knew him assumed he was dead or had changed his identity and was living in a remote place. But the truth is that Aristotle did not disappear, but planned to return to complete something unsolved, and Nikki seemed to be at the center of that plan. At the same time, Nikki began to behave strangely. She quietly visited old places, or sat for hours in the flower garden without saying a word. Victoria accidentally caught her mother staring at an old, yellowed photo, and in it, Nikki and Aristotle. But when Victoria asked, Nikki just smiled sadly and avoided her. While Victor tried to stay calm to plan a response, Aristotle continued to penetrate deeper into the Newman family's relationships. He suddenly became close to Adam, giving sharp advice on business strategies that Adam increasingly trusted. Soon, Adam invited Aristotle to join a new project of Newman Media, making Victor extremely angry. He clearly saw that Aristotle was taking advantage of his trust to infiltrate every corner of his family. Not only that, Aristotle also influenced Nick. During a seminar, Aristotle accidentally mentioned an old memory that made Nick suspicious. The overly precise details of Nick's childhood, something that only people very close to Nikki knew, made Nick begin to question the true relationship between his mother and this mysterious man. Victor realized that if he didn't act soon, Aristotle might not only re-establish his relationship with Nikki, but also take over his entire family's trust and position. But instead of confronting him head-on, Victor chose a smarter approach. He invited Aristotle to a private party, held right at the Newman house, with all the family members present. The party was staged as a gratitude event, but in reality it was a calculated expose. That night, as the wine glasses were raised and the lights were dimmed, Victor stepped into the middle of the room, a file in his hand. The atmosphere immediately became heavy as he began to read aloud, page by page, evidence of the past marriage, Aristotle's mysterious return, and his recent shady activities. The room fell silent, and Nikki stood motionless, tears welling up in her eyes as everyone turned to look at her. Aristotle did not deny it. He calmly admitted everything, but unlike Victor thought, Aristotle did not come to destroy, but to reclaim what had been stolen. According to him, Nikki had left the marriage abruptly when she discovered that he was under investigation by the government. But the truth, according to Aristotle, was that Nikki had been warned by someone and lured away from him to follow the halo of Victor, who had started building his empire at that time. Aristotle doesn't seek Nikki out of love, but rather to expose a buried past. He wants the world to know that Victor wasn't the only person who had an impact on Nikki's life. And more importantly, he claims that he still has legal rights to some of the old assets that were jointly held during the marriage, which later became part of the foundation of Newman Enterprises. This declaration shocks the Newman family. A legal battle begins to form, and Nikki is caught in a dilemma. She feels guilty for hiding her past, angry that Aristotle took advantage of her, and hurt that Victor used her life to scheme against her. From here, the situation changes rapidly. Victoria begins to doubt her father. Nick is angry that he was emotionally taken advantage of. Adam begins to withdraw from Aristotle but discovers a part of the truth that can shake Victor's reputation. Nikki, exhausted by conflict and torment, takes some time off to think, leaving Victor in a state of unprecedented instability. Aristotle, however, does not stop there. With the backing of a shadowy financial institution he once worked with, Aristotle secretly plans a hostile merger with the goal of acquiring shares of Newman Enterprises. While the family is still torn apart by the truth, he gradually buys up the scattered shares from individual shareholders, a move that Victor cannot react to. In the end, it is no longer just a threat of love or personal honor. The game has become a life-and-death battle for power, influence, and an unresolved past. And in the midst of that vortex, Nikki is forced to make a decision: continue to stay silent, or stand up and tell the truth, even if that truth may completely destroy the family she has tried to preserve for so many years. Stay tuned to our channel for more exciting updates on The Young and the Restless here. If you don't want to miss any shocking developments, subscribe now and turn on the notification bell to be the first to get the latest news.